Let's talk about the Progress Road Project. To better understand the Progress Road Project, there are two parcels belonging to New Beginnings for Gilmer County, which has requested annexation into the city of LJ. New Beginnings, whose founder is Joint Development Authority Director Kent Sanford, filed for the zoning change to high-density R4, which is apartment and townhouse type zoning, on behalf of Jerry Stover. At no point did Mr. Sanford disclose that he had interest in said property. Now, this application occurred before New Beginnings would buy the parcels from him, which tells me the sale was contingent upon the zoning change. This is a move that I've seen several times over. Recently, I saw this with the Howard Simmons land annexation application by Bill Holt. Holt withdrew the application, the sale didn't happen, thus the property still belongs to the Simmons estate. I'm seeing it today again with the application by Hubert Parker to annex the Sandy Dowdy property at 382. This purchase, too, is likely contingent upon annexation approval. Now, I'd like you to just take a moment to look at this picture. At the bottom is the picture of is where the Doty property is, which is the property that Parker wishes to annex. To the north of that is the Thompson property, or the Thompson properties. And north of that is the Parker properties. We'll come back to this relationship later. What's brow-raising is that even before the parcel purchases by New Beginnings on Progress Road from Stover, this occurred while Kent's comrades Ferguson and Parker flanked Commissioner Charlie Parris's board majority at the time. Kent, Carlene, and Heward all went to bat to rezone a separate adjoining parcel belonging to the estate of James Connor for the stated purpose of there being a developer who wanted to build, quote, affordable apartments, unquote. The affordable apartments, of course, never occurred, and the property is still held by the Connor estate according to tax records. R4 zoning was approved on that Connor parcel. I'm going to make an assumption here, and I think it's a safe assumption, but I'm going to assume that the 80-year-old woman who receives the tax bills for this property is the Connor estate trustee. I'm also going to assume she isn't the one who made the application to rezone the parcel from Ag 1 to R4 to build apartments. Now, anything is possible, but I sincerely doubt that a woman at an advanced age is going to suddenly decide she'd like to become a developer, and not just any developer, she'd like to develop apartments. Okay, so what is this Progress Road project all about? It's in my opinion, based on facts at hand, that the rezoning of the Connor parcel was the jumping off point for what I will call the Progress Road project from here on out. If the project leaders, Sanford, Ferguson, Stover, and Parker, could get that parcel rezoned, then subsequent applications for high-density rezoning would be easy for contiguous parcels. And if they can get parcels annexed to the city, then it would become a highly lucrative project for everyone involved. Subsequently, adjoining parcels belonging to Kent, Hubert Parker's brother-in-law J. Ronald Knight, from the Gilmer Bank, also known as the Bank, the Thompsons, whose business White Thompson Ford sits across the street, and not to go too far down a rabbit trail here, but New Beginnings board member Chris Henson works at White Thompson with Kent Sanford's twin brother Trent, along with their lifelong friend Paul Neely of the LJ Bank, where both Kent and Tracy Newton, who together founded the Gilmer County Bank, aka the Bank, along with Neely, worked together for a number of years with Post 2 Commissioner John Marshall's father, Clint Marshall. At no point during the Progress Road rezoning process did Mr. Parker disclose he had family conflict. Okay, so it would certainly make the adjoining 80-plus acre J-Loft, which is a partnership between Kent's old bank client Yoko Rissanen and a foreign developer friend of his, that property worth a fortune, especially if and when annexed to the city of LJ. Anyway, once the Connor estate parcel rezoning was approved, Kent Sanford, which is New Beginnings, made an application to buy the two adjoining parcels belonging to longtime friend of Kent's, Jerry Stover. Jerry Stover was the owner of the defunct Bargain Barn. Okay, incidentally, the JDA website, of which Kent is director, marketed the Bargain Barn property, and after it sold, this Progress Road transaction occurred. Now, whether the Progress Road transaction was some kind of kickback, a partnership, or just a coincidence, I can't say. I can only say it's noteworthy and is a big question mark there. All right, let me add a side note here. Ken Sanford is working to fix a zoning error. He's alleging that R4 and R5 zoning are all mixed up. He says that R5 properties are supposed to be R4, which is lower density than R5, and R5 higher density than R4. He says they're mixed up. So this would mean that rezoned R4 properties, along with those, which would include the Connor estate, will become even higher density if and when this quote unquote correction occurs. Okay, let me give you an example, a real world example of how rezoning affects property value. In 2021, the Connor property was worth an estimated $177,420. In the subsequent tax year, which is the year that this zoning was changed, it was valued at $184,420. Now, following the rezoning of the parcel in 2022, the 2023 tax bill came out with a valuation of $315,870. That's a whopping valuation increase in a single year over the year before of $131,450. The structures on the parcel didn't change. There's still an old tear-down manufactured home and a mobile home on the property. Now, moving over to the Stover/New Beginnings property, the 1.92 acre parcel in 2021 had a valuation of $23,800. In 2022, $19,200. So this is looking about right. In 2023, we don't see that big jump. We see the valuation at $21,500. The second Stover/New Beginnings parcel, this 1.4 acre parcel in 2021, had a valuation of $9,800. In 2022, a valuation of $10,100. In 2023, $11,500. What stands out to me on these transactions is that New Beginnings paid $100,000 for two parcels with a combined valuation of $32,000 according to tax records. So while with these two parcels I didn't see the anticipated valuation increase, I'm very curious about this transaction that saw Mr. Stover receiving $68,000 more than the valuation. According to public record, New Beginnings paid $100,000 for two parcels worth $32,000. Now, I bet you can make up any shortfalls in the anticipated property value increase by annexing your parcels to the city, which would pump up valuation and make it more valuable, since the city of LJ R5 zoning allows up to 15 units per acre versus in the county, which only allows 4. I bet a Gilmer initiative for community housing developer would buy the parcels up in a heartbeat. They would certainly at least partner with say, a local property leasing company or make a donation in exchange for their help, right? And I bet if Sandy Ott were to become mayor of the city of LJ, she, who is also on Ken's GIC committee, or the Housing Initiative Committee, the Progress Road project would probably have a real lift-off there. In all of this, what remains important to keep in mind is that the man in charge of Gilmer County Development is also the man who stands to gain the most when it's all said and done. Meanwhile, back at the Parker Ranch, the names I asked you to keep in mind, I hope you see the connection now. The connection between the Parker parcels that he's seeking annexation for share a adjoining property line with the Thompsons. Now, I am not saying that there's any malintent here. I'm saying the relationships certainly are curious, and the valuations of these properties for both Parker and Thompson in this situation as well tends to look like it might be quite lucrative, just as with the Progress Road project. And watching this move by public officials to annex their private properties and those owned by their charities into the city of LJ, while simultaneously having the ability to influence such decisions, while their family members and their own charities tend to personally gain, And with this instance up in the Progress Road project, J. Ronald Knight is Hubert Parker's brother-in-law. This is another instance. Now, I'm not alleging any crimes have been committed here, and maybe they have, and maybe there's some unethical behavior, and maybe there's not, but it's certainly something we should all be watching.